Good? Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes.
Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone.
Morning.
We're gonna try this again, like church. Morning and Happy New Year to everyone.
Morning.
I'd like to call to order the January 15th, 2026 meeting of the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Jeff, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Director Jakes, I shall. Director Rekejo. Director Ortiz. Here. Chairman Barclay.
Here.
Director Jakes.
Here.
Director Eady.
Here.
I will note for the record that Director Ja is not present, but she is expected. Director Jakes, you do have a quorum.
Next order of business is the approval of the committee minutes of December 10th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second. It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the minutes from December 10th, 2025 be approved as submitted. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Rekejo.
Yes.
Director Ortiz. Yes. Chairman Barclay.
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
Director Eady.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Our next order of business is the finance report. Tom McComb.
All right, good morning and Happy New Year.
Morning, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you. Give me a moment here to go to the start of the report. Okay, I'm going to take you through the financial results for the month of November. We're going to begin with system generated revenues. Here you can see fare and pass totals coming in slightly below budget and below where we were last year, impacted by a couple of things. One was notable, the early onset of winter and the winter weather that occurred, and that impacting ridership. We're also seeing slightly lower enrollment on the UPass, which is impacting fare and pass revenues as well. Nothing to be concerned about, but just notable in terms of the trend that we see there. That's offset partially by the non-fare box revenue. That's the additional investment income that we're seeing this year. So total system generated revenue for the month, 2.1 million below budget, 1.2 million below where we were last year. Year to date, we see the trends that we've been seeing throughout 2025. So fare and pass totals above where they were last year, but slightly below what we anticipated in the budget. That's more than offset by the additional non-fare box revenue that we're seeing from the investment income that we're receiving off of our reserve. Total system generated revenue, 10.4 million positive to budget. On the expenses side of things, you will see another impact of some of that winter weather that we experienced in November, which is the negative variance that we have on labor. As we anticipated in the forecast for the budget, we are experiencing slightly higher labor costs, and it is part of the fringe rate. And then we're also seeing in the month of November some additional overtime as a part of the winter weather operations that commence that month. Material, as I mentioned last month when it was negative, that was it was a one-off. So we see that one-off here being accounted for with a positive variance here on the material line in the month of November. Fuel and power continue to be positive to budget because of the better rates that we've locked in. Security services slightly negative to budget. That's offsetting the positive variance that we have year to date there. And then all of that accounted for with other expenses continuing to run positive to budget. So total positive variance for the month, 7 million on the expense side of things. Roll that forward year to date, you see those same trends carrying forward here, 85.1 million positive to budget year to date on the expenses. On the public funding side of things, continues to be robust. So we see sales tax receipts here for the most recent month that we have of collections in September, well ahead of the budgeted levels and ahead of what we forecast. So it's great to see that sales tax revenue continuing to come in at a robust way. 15.6 million overall favorable to budget on our public funding, which also includes positive favorability with the real estate transfer tax as well. Year to date, those trends roll forward. So we see better than 10% favorability to budget on our sales tax revenue and on our real estate transfer tax revenue. So across the board, good to see those positive results on our public funding. On the commodity side of things, you can see that we have fixed in our power purchase. So our power purchase is locked in for 2026 and 2027. The fuel side of things is where we're looking next to start to lock in some of our pricing for fuel to create some more budget certainty there, especially now that we have certainty around the service levels that we'll be providing in 26 and 27. So we did lock in some fuel purchases in December. So in next month's update, you'll see that updated here. That concludes my report for the month of November. Happy to answer any questions.
They just on the labor side, something. Time.
Yes, associated with the winter weather. So if you recall, the month of November had a particularly high level of snow days and then also cold weather. And so that was need overtime to account for that.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
We'll take questions from other members of the board. Director Eady, any questions?
No question.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Ortiz,
No questions, thank you.
Director Raquel,
No questions.
Director Ja, Director Jakes, there are no questions. We may now proceed to agenda item number 4.
Agenda item 4 is the review of an ordinance authorizing a co-promotional advertising trade agreement with Bank of America for the 2026 Shamrock Shuffle, Chicago 13.1 and Chicago Marathon. Tom.
Thank you. Today, I present for your consideration an ordinance that permits CTA to enter into a co-promotional trade agreement with Bank of America for 3 2026 events sponsored by the bank. These events include the Shamrock Shuffle, the Chicago 13.1 Half Marathon, the 2025 Chicago Marathon, and related events. The co-promotion has a trade value to Bank of America of $88,000 and a trade value to CTA of $126,550. Bank of America will provide CTA information in their participant guides, email blasts to participants, and on the event websites. This will include links to purchase fares in advance of each race through the Ventra website. They will also provide booth space to CTA at the Marathon Health and Fitness Expo and a space for the CTA Community Connections bus at the Shamrock Shuffle. In exchange, CTA will provide unsold car card space on our rail system. CTA has done a co-promotional agreement around the Chicago Marathon for 25 years. This partnership will allow CTA to reach a substantial audience of runners and spectators around these events. That concludes my remarks. Happy to answer any questions.
No, I have no questions, Tom.
Director Eady, any questions?
No question.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Ortiz,
No questions, thank you.
Director Raquel,
Questions?
Director Ja, Director Jakes, there are no questions.
And now I have leave to place this on the omnibus for board approval.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Raquel, Director Ja, motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 5.
Agenda item 5 is the review of an ordinance amending ordinance 025-118, approving the fiscal years 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program. Tom.
Thank you. This amendment proposes increasing the capital improvement program by $130,532,277, revising the 5-year capital improvement program to an updated total of $6.8 billion. These new funds are coming from 4 different sources. The first, FTA has awarded CTA $121.1 million from the Low or No Emission Grant Program run by the FTA for the purchase of up to 150 hybrid diesel-electric 40-foot buses. These new hybrid buses will replace buses put in service in 2006 that have remained in service well beyond their useful lives. The second source, RTA, was awarded $2.4 million from the Environmental Protection Agency on behalf of the CTA for the purchase of up to 5 all-electric maintenance trucks and charging equipment. The funds are provided through the Driving a Cleaner Illinois grant program. The third source, RTA, has awarded CTA $800,000 of CMAQ funds to contribute to the reconstruction of the Halsted 79th Street bus turnaround. In addition, RTA will provide $100,000 of regional sales tax proceeds, and CTA will provide $100,000 of capital funds for the local match to this project award. And then finally, the IDOT Office of Intermodal Project Implementation provided notice that CTA is to receive local project funding grant award totaling $6 million for planning and environmental assessment for the next phase, or phase 2 of the RPM project. Upon approval of this amendment, those $130.5 million will be added to the 5-year capital improvement plan, and we'll continue to work on those projects. That concludes my remarks. Happy to answer questions.
No questions, but I do have commendation to say you and whoever else wrote the grant or if maybe did a Shamrock Shuffle for us. Great, congratulations.
Yeah, we're particularly happy with the Lower No Emission Grant Award, $121.1 million, largest single award in the country. So we're really glad that we can add that into the program, fully discretionary grant.
Is this one and done, or is it paid out in 5 years? Is it?
No, we have access to the funds immediately as soon as we can put them to use. So it's an annual appropriation. So this is a one-time application.
Buy again next year?
Hopefully, this program will continue in the next federal authorization, and we'll continue to apply to the program and hopefully see a similar level of success.
You got a lot of holy men up here, so we'll.
Appreciate it.
That's it, Georgetta, for me.
Director Eady?
No, you responded to my inquiry on yesterday, because I was interested to know how we were able to achieve that. It was quite monumental. So thank you very much. No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
I would just echo what Director Jake said. Congratulations on achieving. And it's what the public has been asking us for. That direction fits within our plan for 2040. And so we very much appreciate the staff in terms of working that through. Thank you.
I'm really excited about this initiative. Happy to see this moving along, and congratulations to the team as well.
Director Requejo?
Congratulations. And every time there is a big award like this and celebration like this, I'd like to put things in context too, right? I think we learned through the budget process that our electrification program is about $1 billion, correct?
Currently funded, right? The bus program is about $1 billion.
This is one piece of that $1 billion.
This is part of the overall bus program, right? Sort of that bridge to that full electrification or zero emission fleet. Yeah.
Great. And then there seems to be 1/3 of that $1 billion that is to improve our facilities, and the other 2/3 to buy buses.
Yep.
And one curiosity I had is these new buses, what will be the impact of the electric buses, the positive and benefits, both for communities and for the riders? How would we experience these buses, et cetera?
Yeah, so a couple things. So with these hybrid buses, what you'd see is sort of on the environmental benefit, we would anticipate reducing our fuel consumption by about 250,000 gallons a year. So given our experience with this technology, financially, we'd save $750,000 in fuel expense. And that obviously grows as the price of fuel goes up. And then in addition, you're replacing an 18-year-old bus with a brand new bus. So the technology, the equipment, everything, you think about the car that you purchase today versus a car that you might have purchased 18 years ago, and the advances in technology that go along with that, you get the benefit of all of that when you get a new vehicle as well.
Got it. Are there any plans to improve the facilities to the electrification, the garages?
Yeah, I think within the infrastructure program, there's not only sort of providing the infrastructure that's necessary for electrification, but you also need to bring those facilities into a state of good repair as you do that. So that means sort of upgrading the rest of kind of what goes around that, whether it be the maintenance areas or sort of the employee areas that go along with it.
Great. So as we do the electrification improvements, we also make the places better for our workers.
Yeah, you look for those opportunities, right? Since you're going in and doing the construction anyway.
Thanks.
Your job?
No questions, thanks.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
I now have leave the places on the omnibus for board approval.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 6.
Agenda item 6 is the review of an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more supplemental indentures under which the Chicago Transit Authority may issue one or more series of corporate purpose debt obligations payable from the Sales Tax Receipts Fund, authorizing the issuance of sales tax receipts revenue refunding bonds, Series 2026, authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more supplemental indentures under which the Chicago Transit Authority may issue second lien obligations payable from the Sales Tax Receipts Fund, and authorizing the issuance of second lien sales tax receipts Revenue Bond Series 2026. Tom McComb and
Jess.
Sanja. No, it's no.
Yes.
Right.
Thanks. So joining me up here is Sanja Noble, our Director of Treasury, who has been working with me on this authorization. So today we are seeking authorization for two things. One, to issue a Series 2026 bond to fund $450 million in new capital funds. And two, to release two tender offers to produce savings for bonds previously issued. The new bonds will provide a portion of the project funding for the Red Line Extension project. The amount is consistent with the financial model for the project and approved capital plans. This funding source was included in the capital improvement program adopted by the CTA and the RTA in 2024 and subsequently incorporated into the full funding grant agreement with the FTA that delivers $2 billion in federal funding for the project. In addition to these new project funds, we are seeking authorization to conduct a tender offer for our 2017 tax-exempt and 2020B taxable bonds. Market rates indicate that this will produce present value savings of $5 to $6 million for the CTA, depending on the level of investor participation. It is advantageous to pursue a tender offer at the same time as a new bond issuance to reduce the overall cost of issuance. We executed a successful tender offer on these same 2020B bonds in December of 2024. We previously anticipated issuing bonds in 2025, but were able to delay that issuance and associated costs by utilizing our capital line of credit. The bonds we are proposing will have a maturity of up to 35 years and be eligible for refunding after 10 years. The bonds are being rated by S&P and Kroll Bond Rating Agency, and we expect their updated analysis later this week. Upon board approval, CTA will post official notice to the investor community and move forward to complete this transaction in February. That concludes my remarks. Happy to answer any questions.
All all my questions were satisfied yesterday, but thank you.
Director Eady, any questions?
No, sir. No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
No question. I think you covered much of this in our briefing then.
Yeah.
Prior to that.
Right.
Director Ortiz?
Thank you.
Director Cahill?
I'm abstaining from questions due to a conflict of interest.
Director Ja? Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
And now I have leave the places on this item on the omnibus for board approval.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Cahill?
Abstain.
Director Ja? Vote, motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 7.
Agenda item 7 is the review of an ordinance authorizing an assignment and assumption of an easement agreement with Heath Development Corporation to Third Street Development LLC, property located between Maple Avenue and Isabella Street, adjacent to the Purple Line in Wilmette. Bill.
Good morning.
Morning.
Bill Mooney, your Chief Infrastructure Officer. Dole State staff recommends approval of an ordinance authorizing an assignment and assumption of an easement agreement for real property located between Maple Avenue and Isabella Street, adjacent to the Purple Line. In 2024, CTA entered into an easement agreement with Dick Keefe Development Corporation for a parcel of land located between Maple Avenue and Isabella Street, adjacent to the CTA's Purple Line. The easement is used for the purpose of a road and sidewalk access to an adjacent housing development. Dick Keefe Development has entered into a purchase and sales agreement for the property adjacent to the easement and is looking to assign the easement to Third Street Development. All other terms remain in effect. Happy to take any questions on this item.
Is this part of RPM? No, that was the only question I had. Thank you.
Director Eady, any questions?
No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
No question.
Director Ortiz?
No questions.
Director Cahill?
No questions.
Director Ja? Director Jakes, there are no questions.
I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz. If this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval, we'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay? Director Ortiz? Director Cahill?
Yes.
Director Ja? The motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 8.
Agenda item 8 is the review of an ordinance authorizing a license agreement with Pullman Community Center Development Corporation for the use of parking spaces located at 11302 South Corliss Avenue, Chicago. Bill.
Staff recommends approval of an ordinance to authorize a license agreement between the authority and the Pullman Community Center Development Corporation for use of part of their property at 11302 South Corliss Avenue for parking. CTA has their project office for the Red Line Extension project adjacent to the property and is seeking the use to support the operations of that office. The agreement has a term of 6 years and will start February 1st, 2026, monthly cost of $4,745. I'll be happy to take any questions on this.
I have no questions, Bill.
Director Eady, any questions?
No question.
Chairman Barclay?
No question.
Director Ortiz?
No questions?
Director Cahill?
No questions.
Director Ja? Director Jakes, there are no questions.
May I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this item will be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Raquel?
Yes.
Director Ja? Motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 9.
Agenda item 9 is the review of an ordinance authorizing a pilot program agreement with Sandbox Carbon Inc. for a smoking mitigation pilot under the CTA's Innovation Studio program. Kara.
Good morning, Chairman and Directors. Kara Bader, Vice President of Strategy and Innovation here at CTA. Today I'm here to seek approval of an ordinance authorizing the next pilot program under the CTA Innovation Studio program. As a reminder, Innovation Studio was launched in early 2024, and it enables the agency to test innovative solutions and cutting-edge technology to help solve some of our biggest challenges. Currently, the CTA is managing 4 active pilot programs authorized under this program, with additional programs being scoped related to challenge statements released last year and 2 open challenge statements currently accepting applications. In June 2025, Innovation Studio released a problem statement seeking solutions to help improve the air quality and CTA passenger experience. Specifically, we sought to mitigate the harmful smells and secondhand smoke particles that may exist in our railcar environment. We know that cleanliness is one of our top concerns of customers, and 89% of customers that indicated they were dissatisfied with cleanliness listed smell as one of their concerns. We've invested a lot over the last couple of years in trying to address these issues head on, particularly by targeted anti-smoking missions that we do in coordination with CPD and our security partners. We conducted over 50 of those missions last year, and our partners wrote nearly 600 tickets. However, we know that this lingering smell, and particularly particles related to smoke, are a concern for our riders. It degrades our passenger experience, and we have a number of vulnerable riders with health conditions for whom we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to improve that air quality and the overall environment on our system. We sought solutions that could then help mitigate these effects, and solutions that would be low maintenance, able to be installed with little effort, and able to perform in a variety of outdoor weather conditions. Particularly, our railcar environment is challenging for new technology. These are highly specialized pieces of equipment. They're obviously very expensive. We expect many years of operation out of them. And so as we experiment and think about new technology, we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything that we could to preserve the equipment we have. And we had to have an appropriate balance of risk in thinking about how we could do something like experiment with our HVAC system. Today, we're seeking approval for a stipend not to exceed $65,075.24 to advance a pilot with Sandbox Carbon, a small Chicago-based startup located on the west side in an advanced manufacturing incubator. CTA received 9 proposals for this problem statement, and Sandbox Carbon demonstrated a particularly innovative way to integrate activated carbon charcoal into our filtration system in a means that would not be obtrusive or present to our passengers, and with a monitoring protocol to ensure that we wouldn't be degrading the quality of our HVAC system, as well as an advanced monitoring protocol to understand our speed for dissipating particles that may be in the railcar environment as a result of smoking or other incidents. We would conduct this pilot on 8 railcars lasting 1 year. Sandbox Carbon's activated filters will go on the 5000 series, which operate commonly on the red and green line. And the filters are able to be installed in the return air duct, which is under the passenger seat. As you can see on this slide, the small black boxes are activated carbon, and the stipend will allow Sandbox Carbon to produce a custom die that can manufacture these filter components for us. And they're working with a woman-owned business that could manufacture these metal filter casings that will allow ease of replacement with low maintenance effort. We'll be replacing the filters every 60 days along with our common maintenance cycle and testing how well these filters hold up on that common maintenance cycle. Because one of the criteria would be to understand whether or not we're going to have to change our internal protocols to something more quickly. Maybe there would be an accelerated cost if they don't hold up as we expect. Overall, the stipend will allow us to manufacture and receive 70 filter enclosures and 170 filters total, which is estimated to cover the full duration of the pilot with a significant number of spares. We expect to run the pilot over the 1-year period. That includes a 2-month period for manufacturing and installation. Also an installation of an advanced sensor system that will allow us to monitor the presence of certain particles in the air, in the rail car environment and the speed that it takes to dissipate those particles. We'll install those sensors and we'll do a baseline monitoring for 2 months to understand what our air circulation looks like today. And then we will install the activated carbon filters and run that pilot for 8 months to understand the difference in speed to dissipate any harmful particles within the air quality environment, pre and post. Basically, what we want to be able to test is, can the addition of this technology into our system speed the process by which we can clear the air and dissipate any other harmful smells related to things that happen every day in the environment that we experience. CTA will be the one to install the filters and retrieve the data, but we'll be working with our partners at Sandbox Carbon, as well as our specialized staff in safety with environmental health and quality skill sets to measure and evaluate the success of the pilot. We've also are thankful for a great partnership with our rail equipment engineering division, who's helped us understand what we can and cannot do as we experiment inside a rail car. And there will be a team internally of staff at CTA managing this pilot and evaluating success. We'll be looking not only at that odor reduction time, the customer perception of odor, but our duration between filter changes, whether or not we can stay on our regular maintenance cycle, as I indicated, the time it takes to change the filters, as well as ensuring there isn't any reduction in air circulation that could monitor the longevity of our HVAC systems. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. 2 questions. Red and green line, were those the lines where most of the customers said that smoking was taking place?
We do see that the red line is one of our highest numbers of complaints. It also is where the 5000 series is most often run. And so the 5000 series was determined to be optimal based on how the HVAC system is set up and the age of those cars.
And if there's no smoke on these cars, let's just say within the next 5 or 6 months, how would you determine whether or not this is?
You know, one of the things that we appreciated with this proposal and partnership is they also talked about the ability to basically simulate certain instances. We could go into the shops. They'd done some small scale simulation testing in a closed environment. And so if for whatever reason we think within these 8 rail cars that we will have set up, we've never caught an incident, we could think about other ways to simulate something in the shop and do some repetitive testing there. I think the other thing that I would say is that though smoking is one of our complaints that we take very seriously, there are other smells that we know that our customers are concerned about. And so we think the likelihood of encountering and measuring a change in those particles and being able to see effectiveness is relatively high.
And based on the metrics to evaluate, so I'm missing where is it going to be reported? So if I'm on the L and somebody's smoking, am I going to my app and it's sending it to someone and then it sends it to personnel and?
Exactly. So in our current protocol, we use a variety of data points to understand where incidents might be happening in real time. One of them is our Chat with CTA chatbot, which you can access on the website. The anti-smoking missions that we've conducted in parallel with CPD have looked at things like those real-time chatbot reports to be able to put staff there and maybe interdict an incident. What this pilot is really thinking about is then how do we mitigate the after effects and improve the environment after any incidents occur? So the real-time evaluation that we'll be doing is really just air quality. It won't be to dispatch someone. We already have a good amount of data that's coming through our chatbot and other sources to help us leverage the resources we have to try to address incidents to the extent that we can in real time.
Thank you.
Director Eady, any questions?
No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
Are you testing this for bus? Well,
I think we would look at how we could maybe adopt this type of test in the bus environment once we understand how these filters work. We did open for this challenge statement a potential bus application. The location of the HVAC system in the bus is just a lot harder to access. And so we didn't necessarily get solutions that we felt like could be changed out within our regular maintenance cycle and wouldn't potentially risk damaging the existing HVAC system of the bus. I think we find this to be successful and something to learn from. We would think about what that bus application could be. I think we're eager to do what we can in both bus and rail to enhance that passenger experience.
can you talk a little bit about the sensor? What triggers that?
Right. It's basically, it is an air quality sensor that you would use if you were going and conducting readings for environmental health and safety. It's basically circulating a small amount of air and it's identifying which particles are in the air and taking a reading off of that measurement. We'll be using sensors that are particularly calibrated to smoke, but they can address and monitor other odors. And we'll have 2 sensors in the rail car. So it'll be constantly basically baselining what is the air quality and are there spikes in certain particles that it's been calibrated to detect. We're just going to download that to a regular USB stick. We'll probably be pulling that data off every few weeks. And so we'll be able to see in those 8 rail cars the full sort of range of what air quality looks like in the rail car. And then from that data, identify certain spikes and incidents and whether the presence of this filter technology is more effective at dealing and recirculating and cleaning that air quickly.
Thank you.
Director Ortiz?
Yes, I'm excited for this initiative.
Thank you.
Director Raquel?
I applaud the initiative. Everything really that addresses this problem, welcome and appreciate all the due diligence and looking at different options. At the same time, we have now 5 to 6 years of experience of what it looks like when smoking becomes a feature of transit system. I think 6 years since the pandemic, and this issue still lingers. And I see things to prevent it, things when it happens, and things after it happens, right? And appreciate all of these different things going on. I also know City Council has been issuing resolutions and different aldermen have been concerned about this, making statements, and the mayor has issued also an executive order offering support. So I guess to me, what would be helpful would be to continue doing this, but the question I have is where is the plan to end smoking in transit? What is that consolidated plan, phase and multi-sector? So we can take a look at the big picture and what are we doing? How is it working? And are people really supporting us in this endeavor?
Thanks. That makes sense. I think we can take a step back and put thought to how all these pieces fit together.
Right.
I agree. And given that we now have several months of activity on this front and it is an issue we are coming at from many different angles. And as you say, different actors are commenting on it and engaged on it. I think this would be a time to put it all together, assess the effectiveness of all these different components, think about which to strengthen, which to lean into, what other agencies to partner with further. And the start of the year is a good time to do that.
I appreciate that because I do know the concern is there and you all are trying really hard. I am not quite sure that everybody knows what they need to do or how they can help, including us, the writers, when this happens. It will be helpful to see the full picture, the results, and also what is the responsibility of each of the people who have said, I want to help and fix this problem.
Makes sense.
Director Ja?
Just a couple of questions. Can you talk a little bit about the before and after? Are the filters and the sensors going in at the same time, or are you going to monitor some before stats
Yeah.
just based on what the sensor pulls?
Yep, we're going to do the sensor installation first, and we'll do about 2 months of baseline monitoring to understand what the current state is and what the dissipation cycles look like for certain incidents without the presence of the activated charcoal filters. We'll do that for 2 months, and then the pilot will run for about 8 to 10 months with the filters.
And a follow-up question on that is, what are the limitation of the filter itself being applicable to all our fleets for scalability? If let's say months later you find that filters are effective, are you then in a position to deploy this on all, or does it only have to be the 5,000 series?
Yeah, a couple of considerations will come into play. I think one of the reasons that we chose this solution is, if effective, it is very scalable. About 2/3 of the cost of this pilot is actually just the enclosures, which would not have to be reinstalled every time, as well as this monitoring software, making sure that we're understanding effectiveness. The charcoal filters itself are relatively low cost. It's not no, but low in the scheme of a rail car. We chose the 5,000 series, obviously, because it has both an easier ability to do this filter change, and then with the age of the car, maybe less concern about things like manufacturer warranty and defects. I think what we would have to consider to scale is looking at what is the right place in the HVAC system of each series of car, and likely working with a partner to do that custom enclosure that makes sense for each car. I still think that's relatively scalable, right? If you saw the image, the filter itself is not highly technically complex. It is mostly, where does the filter fit and how could we insert that into our maintenance cycle relatively easily. So I think there would be some custom work to address each rail car, but likely very scalable. And then just a question with our newer series of rail cars, making sure that we're comfortable with kind of going into the HVAC system and introducing a new technological component, or if we think about asking a partner to manufacture a space for a filter like this in spec going forward for our next series of rail cars.
Thanks. No questions.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
And now I have the places on the omnibus for board approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay? Yes. Director Rakeo?
Yes.
Director Ja? The motion passes.
Agenda item 10 is the review of an ordinance authorizing amendments to the authority's public transportation agency rail and bus safety plans.
Directors. My name is Jeff Holbert, your Vice President of Safety. And today I present for your consideration to approve the CTA's agency safety plans for both bus and rail modes. The Federal Transit Administration requires transit agencies to develop and implement safety plans. CTA's safety plans establish and memorialize CTA's safety management system. CTA's safety management system is comprised of a variety of programs and activities that serve to address workplace hazards for our employees, as well as operational or service-related hazards for our customers. CTA's safety management system sets forth the processes that are established to mitigate the risks associated with those hazards and to monitor the effectiveness of those mitigations through continuous improvement-driven activities. So generally speaking, the agency safety plans are representative of the controls that CTA has in place to prevent accidents, injuries, and any other unintended consequences that are associated with our operations, maintenance, or construction activities. The FTA also requires that agency safety plans be reviewed annually and updated as necessary. We do review these plans on an annual basis to ensure they're both effective as well as compliant with all the applicable regulations. And each of the safety plans contains a flow chart that captures that order of operations for what our annual review entails. Lastly, CTA's entire safety program for the rail mode is overseen by and accountable to the Illinois Department of Transportation as our independent state safety oversight agency. Part of IDOT's oversight is the review and approval of the rail agency safety plan. The plan before you today has been reviewed and formally approved by IDOT. The documentation associated with IDOT's review and approval has been included in the briefing packet for this ordinance. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about our agency safety plans.
I have no questions, Joe.
Director Eady, any questions?
No question, but after your presentation yesterday, I took a much deeper dive into the other volume of documents that you provided. I just wanted to commend you how thorough it was. Everything that we covered.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Chairman Barclay,
No questions.
Director Ortiz,
No questions. Thank you.
Director Rakeo.
Just the same question I asked during briefings, because this is a really important issue, safety, that people unfortunately only remember when there is or something happens. So in the spirit of transparency, and because this is a really robust, multiple hundreds of pages policies effort in 3 minutes or less, what are the top 2-3 changes in this new approach to safety that you would highlight?
Sure. I think the top two changes in this plan, again, this is a regulatorily compliant document. So our two biggest initiatives that have big impacts for our program are with regards to a roadway worker protection program and with regards to a risk-based inspection program. Both of those are directives from the federal government to develop those programs and implement them. Our roadway worker protection program formalizes and standardizes a lot of the processes and controls that we had in place for one of our most hazardous working environments, which is the active railroad with the third rail and live operations of equipment. So that plan codifies and makes a lot more transparent and rigorous a lot of those controls. So there's a lot more accountability and attention that's driven towards those. The other one is our risk-based inspection program, which is a program that we've developed in conjunction with IDOT. The premise of it is a deeper dive into data and our safety assurance data and how we look at that and how we leverage that to get the most meaningful impacts from our mitigation activities. So that involves a lot of announced and unannounced visits, inspections from our state safety oversight agency. I think that does put an emphasis and underscore the messaging associated with safety as well. We appreciate their independent scrutiny of things that are as critical as the things that they're looking at. So both of those have been heavy lifts, and I think that the discussions that we've had internally have been valuable and constructive, and I think that those programs as well will give us the type of impact that we want and allow us to continue to have the most important conversations that we can have.
So these are especially safety measures for our employees and our workers. And during the briefing, you mentioned also some new positions whose sole purpose would be to be on site, making sure that things are safe. Could you speak to that?
Correct. So you're referencing what is referred to as a roadway worker in charge. It's a defined designation that again is in the RWP manual. And it is a dedicated person at every work site whose sole responsibility is safety protocols associated with that work crew, from everything from job safety briefings to PPE to OSHA compliance with the work rules, and to most significantly our interfacing with our operating environment. So on-track protection, whether that be flagging or other related protection on site.
And they will be deployed in every work site.
The work site is required to have an RWIC. That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Director Ja?
Questions, thank you.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
I now have leave to place this on the omnibus for board approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, so this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay? Yes. Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Rakeo?
Yes.
Director Ja? Motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 11.
Sort of business today, review of contract number A1, which is a contract award for transit operations. I have two questions.
We'll take questions from other members of the board. Director Eady,
No questions.
Chairman Barclay, Director Ortiz, Director Ricao,
Questions?
Director Ja. Director Jakes, there are no further questions. You may now proceed to contract numbers B1 through B7.
Next order of business today is the review of contracts number B1 through B7, which are contract awards for infrastructure. I have no questions.
Director Eady, any questions?
No questions.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Ortiz,
No questions.
Director Ricao,
No questions.
Director Ja. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to contract numbers G1 through G2.
These are contract awards for technology. I have no questions.
Director Eady,
No questions.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Ortiz,
No questions.
Director Ricao, Director Ja. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to, Director Jakes. There are no further contracts recommended for review or approval.
Since there are no further questions on the contracts, may I have leave to place the 10 contracts on the omnibus?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that these 10 contracts be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Ricao.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. Can you,
That's
I
fine.
meant to say Director Ortiz. Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Ricao.
Is this the roll call vote on the omnibus?
This is.
Okay. I partially abstain from this omnibus vote in regard to agenda item number 6 concerning the sales tax receipts revenue bonds series 2026 due to a personal conflict of interest, and as to all other items on the omnibus, I vote yes.
Thank you. Director Ja. Director Jakes, omnibus, the motion passes.
Since there is no further business to come before the committee, may I have a motion to approve the omnibus and recommend the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the omnibus be recommended for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Ricao,
Yes.
with your partial abstention.
My partial abstention regarding item number 6.
Thank you. Director Ja. The motion passes.
And finally, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the Finance Audit and Budget Committee meeting for January 14th, 2026 be adjourned. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Ricao? Director Ja? Director Jakes, the motion passes.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I would like to call to order the meeting of the Chicago Transit Board for January 14th, 2026. Georgette, please call the roll.
Director Eady?
Here.
Director Jakes?
Here.
Chairman Barclay?
Here.
Director Ortiz?
Here.
Director Ricao? Director Ja?
Yeah.
Chairman Barclay, you have a quorum and you have all board members here in this room on this day, the very first meeting of the new year. I'm so excited about that. I really am.
Thank you. Our next order of business is public comments. Georgette?
Chairman Barclay, we have 5 registered public comments for today. And I'd like to recognize first our public comment that is holding on the line, which are students from Curie High School. And Beta, if you could please allow them to speak or be heard. The students who will be speaking from Curie High School are Sophia Aguirre, Lizette Palatenchi, Mia Gomez, and they have been stewarded by their teacher, their dance teacher, Melinda Wilson. I just want to ask if you all can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, welcome to the Chicago Transit Authority Board meeting. You will have 3 minutes in total to speak, which is what we told you. And your time starts now.
Hi, my name is Sophia Rosagari. Hi, my name is Mia Gomez.
Hi, my name is Siseta Tenchi.
And we are from Curie High School in the dance department with Miss Wilson.
We're creating an advocacy project
regarding relationship violence. We're trying to create awareness around relationship violence. we are doing a call to action with a hotline where people can call to receive help.
Many people experience different types of violence and don't know where to go or ask for help.
CTA is so important. That's our main transportation in Chicago.
Not only students, but adults and families too.
It's an important part of our community. We ride the CTA every day, and we take field trips on the CTA. We're trying to create advocacy posters regarding relationship violence with the call to help so people can get help. We are asking the CTA to view and hopefully consider our posters once completed.
It is our goal to inform everyone that relationship violence can be stopped.
We hope by putting posters on the CTA spreads awareness about relationship violence.
Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much for your public comments. Our next,
I'm sorry, before we move on, are they still on? Can you hear?
can you all hear us?
Bridget and Mr. Chairman and Madam President, if you don't mind, I'd like to get their information. I'm a graduate of Curie, and so I want to be able to try to work with them on this.
Absolutely. And I
Curie class of.
We have their information. We will give it to you.
Sure, just so you can share the teacher's
And-
information.
You can also share the teacher's information too, if you want.
We have Chairman, Director Jakes, we do have their school information and their teacher's phone number and email address, and we will share that with you so that you can reach out and be in touch with the students.
And
Thank you.
I'll just add, I'd like Kim Robinson on our staff who works with high schoolers across the city throughout the year. So we'll connect with the team and hear more about their posters and update.
Yeah.
on what's
Great
in their
idea.
conversations.
Yeah.
And who was that, Madam President?
Kim Robinson, our Vice President of Training and Workforce Development.
Okay, so I want
Runs
to
the
make sure I
Our
get that as well.
program, and
Yeah.
it's a good connection.
Great idea.
Great, okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Stephen Fisher.
Can I stand right here?
No, sir. If you can please come forward and sit in the brown chair that's right in front of that little round disc on the table. That would be great.
Thank you.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes to speak and your time starts now.
Well, actually, I graduated Curie High School.
Class of.
I can't remember. I'm retired from CTA after 34 and a half years. I'm proud to say that. At the same time, I'm not proud to say that I've approached people on the Orange Line about the reliability of the service, the amount of times in between trains. I've got no excuse on this one. I don't want to go to the press. I don't want to rely on an alderman or alder people. I figured coming here to ask to help to get the service straightened out. I've talked to manager after manager after manager there, and the service still continues to be terrible. My wife stood on the platform at Park and Lake for 28 minutes on Monday. I also heard this morning that there was a couple supervisors on the platform, and I heard them say that the lack of people showing up to work on Monday was a direct result on 4 supervisors getting called in to pilot trains. I understand how this company works. I get it. I've been here. I was here a long time. As a foreman, a leader, you name it, I've done it in this company. Ordered millions of dollars of equipment and material. It shouldn't be that hard to figure out how to get a reliable service on that Orange Line. You service multiple high schools, multiple colleges, people going to and from work, not to mention the people going to and from the airport. This wouldn't happen on the Blue Line, I'll guarantee you, because the people would be screaming about it. There's just no reliability on the Orange Line at all. If somebody really stood out there and watched the time intervals between trains, you'd be appalled. I'm asking this board to look into it and help. I'm actually president of the Vinham Park Civic League. I've got a woman in my meetings that's blind. She wanted to call the ADA. I asked her not to. I said, let me go to the board meeting and let me talk and see what I could do. very familiar with the ADA. We installed all the Braille signs throughout this whole system. Elevators, escalators, you name it. We found stuff that the CTA didn't even know they had. So I understand how the ADA works. We worked with the ADA on that. So she told me she'd wait until I came back with some kind of an answer, but I'm hoping that the board could look into the reliability of the Orange Line. If it's understaffed, let's get it staffed. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Thank you for your decades of CTA service. Appreciate you coming here and sharing your experience. Our Chief Transit Officer, Donald Bonds, is here in the room. And so I'm going to connect you with him today, and we'll hear more about your experience and share with the board what we've come up with and what we've learned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Full conduct.
You got it.
Our next public comment is going to be given by Patricia Puente. Good morning. Happy New Year. You have
Happy New Year to everybody. My concern is buses, CTA buses, handicaps. When there's more than 3 handicaps, the bus drivers panic. They don't know what to do. I've stayed there on the bus more than half an hour, 40 minutes, because the bus or the handicappers refused to drive, and the handicappers refused to get out of the bus. I feel that there should be more training regarding handicapped cars on the train. Okay, the other thing is Midway Terminal. I agree with him a lot. He said everything that I needed to say, but at the same time, there's a lot of garbage in the Midway. Today, yesterday, every day I see they were supposed to clean the railroads. There's a lot of garbage on the other side. I don't know if they pick up the garbage and they throw it on the side of the railroad, or they throw it underneath where all the spaces, and they throw all the garbage over there. I spoke with one of your employees, and this is what he stated. We already caught 2 of them that are doing that, but they keep on doing it. Why? Okay, that's the Midway. Our people from outsiders, they come and the first thing that they see is all that garbage. What's the purpose of the cameras? What's the purpose of the cameras? If the cameras are there, they are seeing what the employees are doing. How can it keep on happening? Yesterday, a bunch of garbage, but that's it. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Excellent job. Yay. The visitors, they love it. They say that Chicago looks beautiful and it looks cleaner than New York and any other country, city. Thank you very much. God bless. And
thank you, Ms. Puente. I know you've been in communication with members of our team, and we'll continue to reach out to connect on those issues.
Thank you. Go Bears.
Yes.
Our next public speaker is Ross Floyd.
Morning. My name is Ross Floyd, and I'm with Jobs to Move America. We're a policy and organizing nonprofit focused on community benefits and quality jobs through public spending. We work closely with public agencies, unions, and community organizations to make sure public dollars maximize benefits to local communities. And for years, Chicago and CTA in particular have been leaders in advancing high road manufacturing policy by leveraging the city's purchasing power to incentivize local quality jobs and promote diversity and equity among manufacturers and suppliers. CTA specifically has worked with organizations like Jobs to Move America and our coalition partners in using a tool called the U.S. Employment Plan. This USEP asks companies to make commitments on jobs and wages in their bids for large-scale rolling stock contracts. We applaud CTA's past, present, and continued use of pro-worker, pro-community procurement policy. It's a tangible way for the agency to put its money where its mouth is and stand up for workers in the community. And we truly appreciate CTA's shared commitment to standing up for Chicago workers and communities, especially in these times. However, as you know, a company's commitments are only as good as the accountability and reporting used to enforce the commitments. Throughout this past year, JMA and our partners have brought concerns to CTA staff and leadership about the reporting practices of companies awarded contracts by CTA regarding their jobs and wages. As it stands, there are major gaps in companies' required reporting on U.S. employment plan commitments, leaving Chicago's workers and communities in the dark about the number and quality of jobs that are created from massive investments of public funds. Our concerns about this lack of reporting are shared by our coalition partners, including the Chicago Federation of Labor, Sheet Metal Workers Local 73, Working Family Solidarity, Black Workers Matter, West Side Workers United, and Get to Work. The coalition partners and us submitted a written comment to this board in December addressing this same issue. Last April, we first raised concerns about the specific contracts and commitments that are missing in current reporting with staff. We have since had a number of productive meetings with CTA to address these concerns, and we've really appreciated the time and effort put in by CTA staff charged with collecting this reporting information. They've been truly helpful. We know it's not easy. However, as of now, the issues with major gaps in reporting on job and wage commitments have still not been resolved. And due to this lack of progress on reporting since our first meeting with CTA staff more than 9 months ago, we wanted to use this opportunity to bring this issue directly to the board and Acting President Learson. We would like the opportunity to continue to talk with this board's leadership and Acting President Learson to resolve this issue as quickly as possible and ensure Chicago's workers and communities are receiving the full share of what they were promised. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as you recognize, I know we've been meeting and in contact. You've been meeting with Juan Pablo Prieto. Our law department's also engaged in analyzing your issues, and we'll continue to meet and discuss these with you.
Thank you.
Our next public speaker is Leon Jose Piqueri. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Morning.
Good
morning. My name is Leone Jose Piqueri. It's half Italian, half Mexican. The tough one. I'm the founding executive director of Working Family Solidarity, one of the groups that Ross just referred to in the Jobs to Move America Coalition. We've worked hand in hand with Jobs to Move America to center local jobs in public spending. The mission that we have at our organization is to build unity and solidarity between low-income families of different races and ethnicities to fight together for equitable development. We work especially on worker rights, good job creation, and equal access to those jobs. It's a hard time for workers in Chicago. We've also seen attacks on immigrant workers, and we also know that Black and brown people continue to struggle to find stable, gainful employment. CTA can be a partner in making it better for Chicago's workers, but only if CTA makes good on its promises, the ones that Ross was alluding to right now. We've partnered with Jobs to Move America to advocate for good job commitments in the CTA's large-scale procurement of manufactured goods, including our city's buses and rail cars. And when CTA makes generational investments in its fleets, the impacts can be transformational for Chicago's working families, as you all know, resulting in multi-million-dollar investments in jobs and benefits for Chicago workers in good, reliable manufacturing jobs. And we're proud of this work that many organizations have been involved with and that CTA has partnered on. However, the commitments are only as good as the accountability. And I'm here today to echo Job to Move America's sentiment that was just talked about, that the gaps in reporting and in job and wage commitments need to be addressed as soon as possible. We appreciate the continued effort CTA staff is making and has been making on these reporting requirements, but the issue can't continue to persist. And we look forward to working together to take all actions necessary to ensure that Chicago's workers and communities are receiving the full share of what they were promised. And I thank you very much for letting me speak today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know you've been involved in those conversations and will continue to engage. Thank you.
Our last in-person speaker for this morning is Bob King Israel.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I know I'm last minute. Thank God for letting me speak.
Morning, Mr. King Israel. You have 3 minutes.
No problem. Okay, how you guys doing? I was here in December. I don't know if y'all remember me, but I just want to say thank Chief of Staff Steve Marbury because I had another speech, another conversation.
and I was gonna go somewhere I didn't want to go. But anyway, I'm gonna let Steve reach out to one of you guys because we came here in December. I think we met with Juan. Juan, did anything happen since then? That meeting last month? Oh, you met with some people? Okay, well, guess I gotta call my own meeting. So I'm gonna just let Juan, I'm not Juan, Steve Marbury help me meet with some people because I ain't met with nobody. Like what this gentleman just said, if I just heard something about working with CTA, seemed like we got the same thing. He said, Black workers matter. I'm not racist, but that's what I'm concerned about. Black people working in these communities and on these job sites, because I don't think it'd be violence on these CTA trains if we was working on these sites, these construction sites. I do want to thank Juan for introducing me, I think last year almost, to John Burns. But we sat down upstairs somewhere, John Burns. I ain't heard from them since we sat down. So I'm kind of upset, but thanks to the chief of staff, I'm gonna calm down. I only need 3 minutes. And Dayton Lake project, I heard, I don't think there's no Black contractors on that. Just hearing, did my homework yet, but I'm gonna let Steve Marbury see if he follow up and see what he gonna do. If not, I see y'all next month.
Thank you, Mr. Israel. Yeah, as you're recognizing, my office has contacted you, so we'll continue those conversations. Thank you.
I would like to also advise the board that we've received 2 written comments which have been emailed to the board from John Paul Jones, who's with Sustainable Inglewood Initiatives. One concerning the Red Line TIF Coalition, or on behalf of the Red Line TIF Coalition, and the other concerning the Smoking Cessation Sandbox Carbon Inc. ordinance. And that concludes the public comments for today.
Thank you to all our public comment. Okay. Our next order of business is the agenda is our acting president's report.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, directors. Happy New Year. I wanted to kick off the year by thanking all of our operations employees and the teams that successfully executed our New Year's Eve service. I had one of the most fun New Year's Eves I've had in a long time, out in the field, watching it strike midnight, being at the control center, watching the platforms get cleared from that event. And, as always, it's awe-inspiring to see our team work. Last minute road changes, reroutes, buses. The city, as everybody knows, had not only the Navy Pier fireworks, but a new event smack down in the middle of downtown. And CTA service went off without a hitch, and very proud of the team and thankful for all the work that went into that. We ended 2025 with over 319 million rides. That's a 3.2% growth over 2024, reaching 70% retention of our pre-pandemic ridership looking at the whole year. And that's despite the fast entrance into the winter season that we had early in the snow, with all the snow last month. We continue to see that investments in service inspire ridership, most notably with our frequent network. In total, the 20 routes now in the frequent network served more than 68 million of our bus rides last year. So over a third, over 37% of our bus ridership is now happening on that core network of routes. So I want to thank the board for their support of that initiative over 2025. It continues to be a really strong aspect of our network that we hope to continue to grow into 2026. We've seen similar great response with the targeted changes in service we've made to routes like the 53 Cicero, the 93 California Dodge, to better serve key destinations for our riders. Ridership on the 53A is up 13% after the adjustments that we made to extend the 53 to the Ford City Mall and Daly College. So we're always tracking those investments and seeing how the ridership follows immediately after the investment and continues to grow in time after that. I wanted to also highlight this notably transitional time for transit in the region as we kick off 2026. Internally, I'm very focused on making sure that across our system, our riders and our workers continue to celebrate the funding that we received and the certainty financially that gives CTA heading into the future. In December, we kicked off an initiative called The Future is Funded, which is an internal employee set of gatherings where we come together and talk about everything that everyone did to get us to this point. Have me personally thank employees that attend these events for the work that they did to get us the funding and the certainty moving into the future. We had our first event at headquarters in December. Over 230 employees from across the system attended. It was a very joyful, happy event, and I look forward to traveling throughout the field to continue to hold those meetings. I've also continued to meet with key stakeholders in this transitional period. So the county, RTA, the governor's office, the mayor's office, everyone now has, a unique role in moving us forward through this transitional period. And I just wanted to recognize that those dynamics exist, and I'll continue to keep the board updated on the work underway in the transition to the NEDA board and the future in 2026. A few fun things I just wanted to highlight. We're currently working with the Chicago Bulls to celebrate the jersey retirement of retired superstar Derrick Rose. So the Bulls has sponsored 8 wrapped buses throughout the system. And we have a commemorative venture card that will feature the banner that will be hung from the rafters to commemorate Derrick Rose, and we're excited about that. We'll be rolling out a few more celebratory elements in the coming weeks leading up to the ceremony at the United Center on the 24th. And we're excited about those efforts. This week, we also will have all of our buses display a Go Bears message at the front, which is one of the more fun things to issue in this job in order to have all of our buses say Go Bears, to celebrate in a way that only CTA really can. Exciting things in Chicago that bring pride to our city and get people excited about what brings us all together. I also wanted to highlight, you got a great update on the latest in our innovation studio from the odor mitigation perspective. We're moving forward with what I updated you last month on our call for partners to submit proposals through the innovation studio to support our efforts to launch proactive specialist programs that can engage with riders experiencing a health crisis or unstable housing and addressing the escalation of some disruptive passenger situations. We continue to make progress reaching out to partners, and we were excited to see a strong response to an information session that we held just last week. We had over 60 people attend to hear about the initiative and what proposals would require. And we are reviewing those proposals as they come in. A video information of the information session is posted on our website. Our team will continue to receive questions until January 20th and answer responses to any of the proposers that are interested. And we encourage folks to visit our Innovation Studio webpage to learn more. The deadline to apply to that is February 17th. This is in addition to moving forward in the transit-oriented development aspect, and I wanted to flag in our 2025 budget, we outlined at CTA a vision for how CTA could institutionalize its role in promoting equitable transit-oriented development, partnering with new authorities that will be coming as a part of NEDA, but also thinking at all scales about how we can leverage our resources to promote more broadly welcoming and inviting spaces on our system. And to advance these efforts, as we had reported to the board, we've moved forward with posting 2 new positions that will serve as a leading and coordinating hub for CTA, and that process has already begun. We also launched a new home for transit-oriented development on our website with a dedicated landing page that highlights current projects and major past initiatives, including work underway around Ashland and 63rd Park and Ride, our implementation of the 95th Street Corridor Plan, developed with and by the community, and our opportunities related to the Red Purple Modernization Project and more. In closing, directors, as I spoke to you about in briefings and as been covered, December was an active month in terms of engagement with the Federal Transit Administration around security initiatives. As you know, on December 8th, we received a special directive requesting a surge plan, and we responded in the timeframe allotted on December 15th. Following that, we received another correspondence indicating we needed to submit an updated plan within 90 days. I wanted to report we are actively working with our partners in the Chicago Police Department to submit that updated plan. I'll continue to keep you updated on the contents. But I would say that any time focused on security is good time for CTA. This is an important primary issue of focus for us and always has been. This engagement is going to produce meaningful presence of police on the system that will add to the work that's been already underway. In 2025, as you know, I've reported around new missions that are being conducted with the police, never before seen missions around the red line, around the code of conduct missions on the blue line, around safe outreach missions throughout our system. We will continue to build upon those to be responsive in this forum, and I'll keep you updated on what that partnership produces. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Learson. This year has started with a demanding pace, but I look forward to the work and the progress ahead of us. I'd like to start by acknowledging and thanking the entire team for the effort in delivering great service through the holiday season to support the many events and festivities across the city during that time. Those efforts often happen behind the scenes and in very cold temperatures for our frontline employees, but they are deeply valued and do not go unnoticed. At the same time, it's difficult that this new year has opened with serious incidents that underscore the challenges we face on the public safety front. I recognize the team's effort issue. I do not underestimate how complex and difficult this work is. But as I said in briefings, we owe it to the riders we serve to ensure we're utilizing our resources and partnerships to address this directly, effectively. I'm also mindful that there are many other dynamics at play in the recent discussions around safety on our system. However, setting that aside, the reality is that even with overall crime rates trending lower, we still have challenges in this area. We have a responsibility to make meaningful progress for the people who rely on our system every day. Getting this right should be our primary focus and top priority. Increases in service and ridership, stronger partnerships, and effective marketing are all important, absolutely have their place in our strategy. But restoring rider confidence and safety, both for the public and for our employees, what will be most consequential. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built, and it is what will resonate most with the communities we serve, with the workforce that shows up every day to deliver this vital service. To the team, your commitment during both the high points and the hardest moments is evident. Thank you for your continued professionalism, resilience, dedication to this important work. As chairman, the board deeply appreciates your work. And we remain committed to supporting you as we move forward together to achieve great things in 2026. I'd now like to open the floor to my colleagues for comments and questions.
Director Eady?
Yes, I want to first of all commend you and appreciate the presentation you gave to us during the briefing, especially in light of latter area that you presented of the security issues from DC. And I appreciate the information that you provided. When do you envision that response will be completed? Federal government.
Sure. So just as a reminder, the requirement is that an approved plan exists by March 19th.
Okay.
But we have to submit and have it approved within that time frame. So we're aiming to have it submitted far ahead of March 19th, towards the end of this month, beginning of February, so the FDA has plenty of time to review it and approve it in the time frame.
So say as you are planning to submit it early, say you submit it early, is there a process where you will be able, if for whatever reason they see some deficiencies in it, to be able to resubmit? How does that play out?
That's what I would expect. That would be my aim of submitting early so that there's time to adjust if needed. I can't speak exactly to how the response might come back, but that would be my aim in engaging as early as possible with an updated plan.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there would be opportunity for ability to resubmit, refine, whatever. It's not a single situation, meaning not like it's one submission, it's approved or not approved, and then they move on.
I can't speak to exactly how they will respond, so I don't want to say with certainty. I think there is an opportunity for exchanges within that 90-day period. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Director Jakes?
No, I did everything yesterday, so we'll just wait and see what happens, but thank you.
Director Ortiz?
Same. Just keep us posted on any responses once we turned it in. Any updates on that would be great.
For sure.
Director Rakeo?
Congrats on the progress. I'm especially excited about the ETOD approach, the staffing, and I want to remind people that a lot of transit agencies around the world have TOD or transit-oriented development plans to build things around their stations. Very few, very few have ETOD, which is equitable transit-oriented development, which means that when you build around your station, you're not building just for profit, you're not building just for the rich, powerful, you're creating things for the community that is around that place. And this looks like affordable homes, small businesses. So I really appreciate the extra layer that goes into creating that program. On the security plan, I expressed doubts last time that we met on both the intent and the impact of FTA, the way they behave and communicate. I still have even more concerns now. And this being an exchange of letters, this being veiled threats, and this not being a collaborative process, at least the way I work, when there is a bad process, there's a bad outcome out of it. So to me, it's important to keep responding, of course, because we have to do that by law. But to me, the plan to address security is not going to be that plan. It's a plan that happens in a different place with a lot more people. I appreciate you reaching out one-on-one to governor's office, mayor's office, civic leaders. This needs to be a table of all of them together. And I don't know who needs to convene it. I would love somebody to call it, and for that to be the platform and the place for our security plan that we desperately need. And I would encourage you, Nora, and the team to do it in the context of the other thing you mentioned today, which is the transition to the new era of transit in the region is coming. Summer is going to be here sooner than we all expect, even if it's snowing today. There are a lot of deadlines coming up this summer. And what best way to demonstrate the spirit, right, of the new legislation, collaboration, partnership, transparency, accountability, community engagement, than setting up that table solely focused on recovering safety for our riders and for all the riders across the system. So in brief, let's keep dealing with FTA and all those requests, etc. But let's spend most of our time creating, co-convening that other table where I know we can find a solution that we will not find in a plan that is imposed and is not collaborative and is not a dialogue and is an exchange letter. So, and count on me for support in recruiting people to the table, creating the pressure and finding the right place and platform.
I appreciate that. I mean, as you know, we have a history last year of holding our first ever transit community safety workshop and making headway and gathering people together like never seen before. Certainly my philosophy throughout this and everything we do here is to use it as an opportunity to strengthen us in a variety of ways, and that's how I'm approaching this as well. So I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, and I welcome those efforts. RTA had a summit 2 years ago, explicitly on safety. Out of that summit, some pilots came out, some of them successful, and then that stopped happening. And then we did our workshop, and that was great. And now we have a number of things going on. And I really appreciate, again, just like with the smoking approach being coordinated, that approach being part of a larger safety plan that happens not here and there and not one time and then silence or stopping. Something ongoing, something collaborative, and something, again, having a platform that meets regularly, that has programs going on, indicators of success, transparency, and full engagement. That's what I would love for most of the time and the resources to be spent, and minimize the time and the resources going into things that may not be, will not be the plan that Chicago needs.
Director Ja?
I just want to echo what you just said. I think we need to do what's right for the city, but transparency and just getting some visibility into how the plan is coming together for the March 19th deadline would.
Yeah, I just want to echo, and I appreciate your comment, Director Raquel. Since we're moving to this regional model, I think everybody needs to be on board. Everybody needs to take responsibility as well. The county, the state, these outlying counties. Security and safety is not just a CTA issue, it's a regional issue at this point. And so that's the legislation that has been passed, and that's what we have to live with. I think you need to elicit all the assistance that we can from those agencies, those bodies that can assist us at this time. Because I think that it's a burden that's solely on CTA right now. But now that we're looking at this as a regional approach to public transportation, every stakeholder needs to be at the table.
I agree. I think that's why I reported out on those conversations starting already. And certainly the security component will absolutely be a primary part of those conversations.
Yes. But like Director Raquel said, summer is coming. And we know that we have the greatest challenges sometimes during those periods. So we should jump on this now so that everybody knows their role. Thank you. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 10th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the minutes from the board meeting of December 10th, 2025 be approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Raquel?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is executive session. Mr. Von Baker, it's my understanding that we have an executive session today.
Chairman Barclay, there will be an executive session today pursuant to Illinois Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120, Section 2C 21 and C 11.
I will now entertain a motion to recess into executive session for reasons stated by counsel.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the board move into executive session for reasons stated by counsel. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Raquel?
Yes.
Director Ja? Motion passes.
I will now entertain a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz. If the board return to open session, we'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Rakeo?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Motion passes.
In item 5A, the board reviewed the closed session meeting minutes for December 10th, 2025.
May I please have a motion to approve the closed session minutes for December 10th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the closed session minutes from December 10th, 2025 be approved as submitted. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Rakeo? Director Ja?
Yes.
The motion passes.
We will now address board agenda item 7, board matters. Georgette, do we have any board matters today?
Chairman Barclay, there are no board matters for today.
Our next order of business is a report from the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Director Jakes.
The committee met earlier this morning and approved the December 10th, 2025 committee minutes and reviewed the finance report. The committee reviewed the following 7 ordinances. Review of an ordinance authorizing a co-promotional advertising trade agreement with Bank of America for the 2026 Shamrock Shuffle, Chicago 13.1, and Chicago Marathon. Review of an ordinance amending Ordinance 025-118, approving the fiscal years 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program. Third was review of an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more supplemental indentures under which the Chicago Transit Authority may issue one or more series of corporate purpose debt obligations payable from the sales tax receipts fund, authorizing the issuance of sales tax receipts revenue refunding bond series 2026, authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more supplemental indentures under which the Chicago Transit Authority may issue second lien obligations payable from the sales tax receipts fund, and authorizing the issuance of second lien sale tax receipts revenue bonds series 2026. Fourth, we had a review of an ordinance authorizing an assignment and assumption of an easement agreement with Dick Keefe Development Corporation to Third Street Development LLC for property located between Maple Avenue and Isabella Street, adjacent to the Purple Line in Wilmette, Illinois. Fifth was a review of an ordinance authorizing a license agreement with Pullman Community Center Development Corporation for the use of parking spaces located at 11302 South Corliss Avenue in Chicago. Then we reviewed an ordinance authorizing a pilot program agreement with Sandfox Carbon Inc., a smoking mitigation pilot under CTA's Innovation Studio program. Lastly, review of an ordinance authorizing amendments to the authority's public transportation agency rail and bus safety plans. The committee also reviewed 10 contracts. The committee placed 7 ordinances and 10 contracts on the omnibus. Committee approved and recommended for board approval 7 ordinances and 10 contracts. This concludes the report of the Finance, Audit, and Budget, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion to approve the omnibus.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the omnibus be approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Rakeo?
I partially abstain from the omnibus vote in regard to agenda item number 6 concerning the sales tax receipts revenue bond series 2026 due to personal conflict of interest, and as to all the other items on the omnibus vote, yes.
Thank you. Director Ja?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay, the motion passes.
Thank you. Our next order of business is the construction report from Bill Mooney, our Chief Infrastructure Officer, and Juan Pablo Prieto, our Director of Diversity.
Morning still. I am Bill Mooney, your Chief Infrastructure Officer, and I'm joined by
Board Directors Juan Pablo Prieto, Director of Diversity Programs.
This month, we will focus on Western Ravenswood Brown Line Station renovation project is our kind of focal project. It's been a little while since we've talked about this project. As a reminder, this is the first progressive design build job we've ever undertaken. Progressive design build is a model of contracting that was all the rage in the industry about 2 years ago. We had a lot of our contracting community ask us to look at this as a model. They thought it was a very, very strong model. We've been doing design build for about 15 years. This is kind of an evolution of that. So this was kind of the first one that we've tried it on. I will say the jury's broadly still out about it as a model. We'll get done with this one and then we'll revisit it from there. But it allows you to kind of design build. We take out a concept set of drawings, usually around 30% design, that we bring out to the industry. They bid that to complete that design, bring it to 100%, and then ultimately build it for us. Progressive design build, we actually don't take a concept set of drawings out. We put out a narrative scope of services that then we negotiate a large scale kind of cost around. And then throughout the process, they produce estimates based on an evolution of that scope of work. And we come to kind of conclusion. If we can't come to agreement on price at those estimates, we can off ramp the project at that point, which is kind of a unique thing. But they're at the table with us in the development, not only of the design, but also is costing that kind of day in and day out. So we get kind of real time costing on it. It also theoretically allows you to build a little faster because you are getting components of this being able to advance faster and being able to get to construction a little sooner. The project itself, the scope deals with some pretty significant amount of state of good repair upgrades to the station. So a lot of facade work, painting, scale like that, but also a lot of the goals of our all station accessibility project. Well, it's not a station formally in ASAP because it is a fully accessible station. It does address some of the other things, such as it modernizes the bus turnaround directly adjacent to it, making it a fully accessible bus turnaround, advancing that accessibility goal, as well as rehabbing the existing elevators and bringing them back up to the state of good repair. So one of the goals of the ASAP program is that our existing 175 units out there see a life cycle renewal as part of the commitment to that program. And so this addresses some of those pieces. Some of the biggest customers, we talk about this as a customer facing thing because customers walking into this are looking at a station that saw very little work under the Brown Line capacity expansion project. It had already been a modernized station. It had seen kind of an upgrade in its lifespan. So when we did the Brown Line back in the early 2000s, right, it did not see significant work. So this is the first time it's really had a big investment in that customer facing improvement. So we'll talk about some of these things as we go through them. Probably the biggest expenditure on this project is the masonry walls of the station. It's a multi-story elevated station that was enclosed in brick. The brick was actually seeing a significant degradation. And so we've actually had to pull down all the faces of brickwork all the way to the ground and actually build back up. So here you're looking at, this is the north wall. As we look south upon the station, Western Avenue is to the right of the screen as you're looking at it. And this is a great plaza out there. So we actually have a coordination effort going on with CDOT who's rebuilding this plaza. There's a huge amount of investment in Lincoln Square right there. It's a very populous, walkable local business area in the area. But they also just opened up a transit-oriented development across from this plaza across the street, which was a big win kind of for the community there as well. There was a huge fight over parking and things around that. It was kind of interesting to watch it play out, especially because a very progressive alder who really was leading this effort. But these walls have been a big challenge. We put a huge amount of investment here. So now you see them actually removing the brickwork and they start working on building back up from there. The other big kind of facade pieces that we start to see, this is them, the storefronts. So this is the glass kind of around the station entrances. So they remove all those glass enclosures, all the steel work around that often deteriorates pretty quickly from its exposure to the elements. And so this is rebuilding those storefronts. One of the things we've evolved over the years is versus taking that steel storefront all the way to the ground, we actually do a concrete curb to raise it up so that as you have water and salt exposure, it's protected by the concrete at that spot where it dwells versus the steel, which rots out faster. So here you can see that curb being set and ultimately the storefront gets built up from there. One of the other huge expenditures we tend to get into in all these station projects is electrical upgrades. So stations that were built in the 1980s had an electrical service for kind of the intention of the time. And everything we do nowadays eats up more power than we could ever envision. Modern elevators, even LED lights are less consumptive in the individual light bulbs. We tend to increase the lighting tenfold when we do these things, right? It's safety, it's security, it's a passenger comfort thing. So that eats up a ton of electricity. And so we often have to upgrade the electrical system. So this station actually gets a brand new electrical room, all new equipment is part of it, and a significant upgrade to the ComEd service. So here you can see the new ComEd service being marked out to go in. Here's some of the work on the inside. This is them actually running new pipes. So we dropped the enclosed ceiling here as part of the demo, and now they are running all new pipe runs and they'll be installing the new lights to it. The key thing I also would highlight here is actually the flooring. So the flooring actually got a huge upgrade. It was a pitted kind of concrete floor. It now has an epoxy finish to it. It was stunning. I think that when we had a closure for a weekend for it, you were there on a Friday and it was this really worn concrete floor. You came back on Monday and it was pristine. And it was a beautiful floor. It's a new product we're trying. It could actually be beneficial because we can actually lay it with maintenance forces and maybe something we work in refresh and renew in the long term. Similar to what you see in, it's an industrial version of what you see them kind of talk about in home garages. I'm kind of an epoxy setting floor. So with that, I will turn it over to Juan Pablo.
Thanks, Bill. In December, we hosted and attended a number of events to inform small businesses and residents about contracting and career opportunities on CTA projects. And on December 4th, at CTA headquarters, we hosted the Small Business Educational Series Reunion, an evening of celebration, connection, and inspiration. It was an opportunity for alums of the program to reunite with fellow graduates and share stories and exchange ideas to reignite that spirit of innovation that continues to drive small business growth across our community. During the event, 3 graduates spoke on the panel about their experience and growth since completing the program. And we plan on hosting more of these and spotlighting firms that have completed our programs to encourage others to apply and participate. As a reminder, all of our programming is at no cost to the small businesses, and we post regular updates to the CTA website on the diversity programs page for when we are hosting these events. That concludes our report this month. Happy to answer any questions.
Glad to talk about either the project we were discussing directly, any questions around, or anything in the report that we didn't cover.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have concerning your educational series reunion, the input, what kind of input did you receive from those that attended that may have led to some future planning?
So we do survey the graduates after each class. There's 9 classes in the series. So we do survey them after each class and then after the series overall. So we have made some improvements. We brought in different classes based on feedback from the graduates. What we have gotten is that they are able to compete for larger scopes, for more complex scopes because of the series. There's a lot, especially in terms of CTA work, that they did not understand coming in from the series, and coming out of the series, they're engaging in a different way with prime contractors and having better conversations around those scopes. And so they're able to compete on a better, more complex level for our project. So what we're going to do is look at the data, ask the graduates to provide any increases in scopes that they've been able to compete for, increases in bonding or lending capacity, so that we could see what other effects the series is having.
What were some of those new classes that were added?
Yeah, so we added one around technology, how to leverage technology. We also added one around marketing, right, and how to market your firm once you're kind of established. That includes kind of website, and it includes social media as well. So again, really trying to focus on where the need is from the small businesses.
Do you facilitate any sort of financial resources?
Yes, that goes through our Building Small Businesses program, which we've given the board some regular updates on, where we connect firms with lenders, both traditional and non-traditional lenders, to talk about where they need financial assistance or where they may need either bonding or lending to compete for those scopes on our projects.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Chairman Barclay, there are no further questions on the
on the Western.
I'm sorry, wait.
Western.
Do have a question. I'm sorry. Director Ricao.
So thanks for all the work in that station. Is combined, as you said, with ETOD next door, and there's also improvements for walkability, a plaza, bikes. It's a beautiful. It's also one of the most expensive communities in Chicago. It was in the Wall Street Journal. There was a headline about it. So I'm curious as to, and I know we don't own a lot of land. I'm curious as to how are we thinking about our role promoting ETOD and affordable housing and space for small businesses in that community or in the Brown Line, which touches some of our most affluent neighborhoods in Chicago.
So I would say, so we own very little land at all around the Brown Line at this point. We have concession retail space in some of those stations in there. And so as we continue to look at how we are modeling a pilot program around concession retail spaces, we're trying to pull samples of that, and that would kind of be the space we would into. And then we've done some stuff around underrail activation and support in coordination with the community, the low line being that one of the first examples of kind of that activatable space that's available to the community. Those have been the two kind of areas that we've been supportive. I will say that one of the unique things you'll see in this conversation about the investment in transit driving growth is we did the Brown Line capacity expansion project. It was from about 2000 to 2005-ish timeframe in there. And it was to move from 6-car operation to 8-car operation, as well as make the stations fully accessible. Brown Line at the time, the communities along it had grown, had seen massive amounts of ridership gain, and we were at absolute capacity. We were leaving people on platforms every single train. We are at a point that with that investment in transit, the communities around that have seen more density, have been able to grow further and kind of grow back into that TOD development area where we are, even in our challenging ridership times, are seeing growth there, right? And we were starting to phase pre-pandemic the next capacity expansion conversation around the Brown Line because we've seen some of those things. So I think, to your point about transit development and there is demand there. And so then it's really been about the city's ability to support equitable investment in those communities. And I think the TOD ordinance is allowed. So as we had that investment in those communities that created opportunity for dense development around it, and the city stepped forward and supported an equitable transit-oriented development plan that allowed for reduced parking requirements and other capacity square footage increases, that really started to be able to create opportunities for affordable housing along the Brown Line and diversification of those communities. I will also highlight, just because we're talking about this, is we have released the first 3 of the RFPs for the Red Purple modernization parcels. So the city of Chicago has an RFP for one of those as well out on the street. So all 4 of the parcels in the Red Purple bypass area are actually out for opportunity right now. All 4 of those opportunities deal with the equitable transit-oriented development goals and weight them in their criteria. The city is heavily underwriting opportunities associated with the parcel that they are brokering. That we ultimately be looking to transfer to them to allow them to kind of underwrite that opportunity. But even the 3 that we are contain those goals and support kind of those opportunities in areas that are exceptionally expensive. When we talk about the Brown Line, that is the most expensive of expensive communities to create opportunity for there. So if anybody's interested in owning a 100-plus-year-old apartment building that has amazing copper work, absolutely beautiful architecture, and I can promise you the foundation is as solid as it gets because we picked up the building and put it on it. We do have the Von Travis food building out there right now for brokering. So spread the word. We are very excited to see those opportunities out there.
Like Kimball, end of the line, like do we have opportunities there and land ownership?
So Kimball has very little that isn't readily being used for transportation purposes. The little bit of land we have is tied to the park and ride lot. And it is the only land we have to be able to expand any function of that yard ever right now without taking, it is very landlocked. So if you go directly to the east of Kimball Yard, you are entirely large scale, dense apartment buildings. I live in Albany Park and very close to Kimball. The multi-story apartment buildings. So anything we ever wanted to do with Kimball would result in us, causing significant impacts to neighborhoods and communities. And so the only little bit of land we have is a small parking lot. It's 74 spaces or something like that in the front of the lot. And it has been part of, as we've looked at those Brown Line capacity, future Brown Line capacity, we've looked at yard reconfigurations because one of the biggest capacity challenges we have on the Brown Line right now is the ability to store trains. We are over capacity on that yard where we have to actually store on what we call the leads, which is the tracks that we use to connect all the other tracks, or even in the pockets at night, because that's the only way we can have enough cars available for service. So,
got it. Thank you.
And some of those visions of the yard, and we've looked at future plans, could deal with how you develop over the yards and you cap things and do things like that, but they're part of a much bigger vision.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Final order of business. Is there new business?
Chairman Barclay, there is no new business.
Since there is no further business to come before the board, I have a motion to adjourn the Chicago Transit Board meeting of January 14th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Eady, seconded by Director Ortiz that the meeting be adjourned. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Eady?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Rakeo?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay, the motion passes.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.